I heard from Sidney Powell today. I mean, she messaged me on Twitter. I'm going to share it with you right here on the show. And remember, she is named as one of the co-conspirators for the RICO charges under the fraudulent Fani Willis. So it was neat. I did a post today and she ended up responding back to me. And also another person from back in that era that was trouble, these are kind of celebrities, is Kari Lake. Even though I did tons of videos supporting her campaign, we predicted her Senate run. I actually predicted she would win and she lost again. But now she's doing great work in media and television for America, for the Trump administration. This is going to be great. Welcome to the Doug TenNapel channel. This is where all the happy patriots are. I try to give you guys news on what's happening in American culture that is involved in politics. And I'm really wanting to keep an eye, especially on the Democrats, for when they rear their weirdo, secretive, ugly head and try to make another attack on the right. I want to expose them. I want to find them. Because guys, they're just laying low right now. It does not mean they're gone. Some Democrats do convert to Republican, but some of them are like sleeper cells among us, sitting there quietly waiting, licking their wounds, and getting ready to launch another massive attack on America, which are lies, Marxism, atheism, and political manipulation. They're trying to brainwash you. This is about Voice of America.
Kari, I want to ask you about Voice of America, your role there specifically, what you'll be doing. When is day one for you? But also, will you be in the press briefings at the White House with the fake news? I can't wait to see something like that, Kari.
Well, maybe one of these days I'll join in over there and just visit. But there's there's a correspondents who actually work in the press room, and I'm expecting absolute professionalism from everybody at Voice of America to cover this administration with the utmost professionalism. It is Voice of America, and we need to cover America and what America stands for, and freedom and liberty. We're sending that message around the globe. Our viewership is global.
So this is not like NPR. This is Voice of America, where they're specifically charged with making the case for America, the case for freedom, the case for the Constitution, and the case for our way of life. This is a great tool. Shouldn't be propaganda. I think Kari Lake, being a professional newswoman, this is about bringing really what NPR and PBS were supposed to be, a media source of news, preferably unbiased. And the question is, will she make it into that White House press briefing? Because Trump has mentioned, and this is Caroline Leavitt, his press secretary, who's taking the place of Karine Jean-Pierre. They've talked about bringing in way different voices than just the old calcified, dead media. That is, it's not going to be old broadcast, stale institutions in there. They're going to invite in a lot of podcasters, streaming media. Here's Kari Lake is going to continue. Then we'll get to Sidney Powell.
And we want to make sure that people around the world understand what America's all about. Everyone wants to see what this administration is going to do, whether you love President Trump or you don't. He is literally, in some ways, the center of the universe when it comes to what's happening in the news. And every country is waiting with bated breath to see what will happen. And want to make sure that Voice of America is truly covering America and with top journalistic standards. So
this is going to sound like she's talking about political propaganda because she's saying that the world wants to know what Trump is doing and Trump is the center of the universe. Okay. He is clearly the center of the news universe. So she's not being wrong there. There's another way that she's not being wrong. You know, the news, when in the old days under Walter Cronkite, when they covered John F. Kennedy, when they covered Nixon, when they covered Carter, they were pretty even-handed. They did their best to make a pro-America case, pro-presidential case is the right thing to do. Well, the mainstream media like MSNBC, CNN, name it, NPR, they're incapable of saying anything positive about Trump, really, or America. Like they can't say, yay, capitalism is winning. They can't do that. That is the culture of what their brain makes them say or their heart makes them say is only anti-American hippie BS from the 60s, or Marxism from even earlier than that, from like 1908. They can't say something positive about America or Trump. That is the necessity of Kari Lake's, what she's promoting here, is you actually need someone to make that positive case. So this is not about propaganda. We don't want her to make rah Trump, and that's not what she's doing. She's talking about telling the truth. It should be pretty generic news. It doesn't have to be spicy. This is not supposed to be opinion. It should be just facts going out. He did this today. He went here. Take a look at what's happening in America. And that's it. The left-wing media always claim that they were neutral, that they were just reporting facts. That's not true. All journalism under the left has become opinion because they can't separate their opinion, anti-America, anti-Trump opinion, from fact. And frankly, this goes all the way back to Bush. They could never say something positive about Bush, either Bush. And they only said positive things about Clinton. So they also railroaded Reagan because he was a real conservative and gave deference to Jimmy Carter. So see how this goes. When you're left, they say, they just give you a pass. When you're on the right, it's attack time.
I'm looking forward to getting in there. There's going to be a little bit of a process to get in. It won't be on day one. I wish it was at 12:01 on the 20th, but it's going to take a little bit of time. I'm a patient woman, but I'm also, gunning to get ready. I'm ready to get in there and start working.
Good. I don't think she'll let us down. I think she's a workaholic. I think she's a real taskmaster. So I hope this succeeds. And we'll, if she reports something, we'll let you know what we think of it. You know me, I'm not here to if she blows it, I'll say she blows it, or they need improvement in this area. This one is cool. This is where Sidney Powell shared my tweet.
I have a message for all our United States senators, every single one of you. We, the people of the United States, have given President Trump a very clear mandate to clean up the bloat and the corruption in our government. It is infected everywhere, and it must be done now and without any further delay. He has the support of the most diversified coalition that we have seen in this country in a long time. And the country is more united than the media would have you believe. And we are united behind President Trump's agenda to make America great again. The damage that has been done to this country in the last 4 years is inexcusable and borders on criminal. We want you to be part of cleaning it up. Remember, you work for us. We're not interested in your opinions of his appointees. We want them confirmed expeditiously. We are not interested in sound bites you might want to make for your next campaign. We want you to hold the hearings, affirm the candidates, and let's get on with the business of government that is so important to the American people. My name is Sidney Powell, and I approve this message.
I will read the tweet and then let you know what she had to say. So first, you guys saw in the earlier video, you can click on it. It was earlier today. Has Mike Johnson on the thumbnail. And it was Mike Johnson admitting Joe Biden, this is before this election, he admitted that Joe Biden was not making the decisions, that other people were performing his signature for him, which is illegal, guys. He's talked about a story in the room that had Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris. He said CIA agents and some of Biden's staff that were sitting there watching him. And then Biden dismisses them. He and Biden sat down. And Biden did not remember signing this ban on liquid natural gas to starve it from Europe. It was going to end up helping Russia in the war. And he was just unaware of it at all. And Mike Johnson reminded him. Now, Mike Johnson should be called. This is going to get into what Sidney Powell wrote, so I don't want to spoil that. I'll just read you my tweet real quick. Let's take a look at it. Here we go. This is a far-reaching scandal, I said, the biggest of the last 4 years. This is the biggest scandal. Mike Johnson should go before Pam Bondi in a new congressional investigation over what Joe Biden was aware that he signed. That is, was Biden, he was not aware, so that should be under investigation. Now, Sidney Powell, this is where she has conflict with me. And she doesn't want a congressional investigation. She wants a grand jury. She wants law enforcement in there instead of pussyfooting around with Jim Jordan and these other guys. Okay. Now, I wrote all 159 executive orders that Biden allegedly signed are now in question. Every pardon, 240 presidential memoranda, thousands of pardons, those criminal death penalty pardons, 725 proclamations and 152 notices that Biden signed must be investigated to ensure they carry the authority of his will in office, because that's in question now. And I sent it out to Sean M. Davis, Julie Kelly, Pam Bondi, and Speaker Mike Johnson. Then I get this correction. There's Sidney Powell right there. Let's take a look at what she said, because I think she says something. Look, guys, I like being corrected, okay, if I'm wrong. This is what Sidney Powell's opinion is. She wrote, correction, the federal grand jury is what we need. We need real law enforcement, not political theater in more worthless congressional hearings. Congress needs to be writing and passing MAGA laws. That is, this is the job of Congress, not doing hearings, but passing laws and pulling back, revoking crap that has been enacted in the last decades or more. We need a big reset. And she sent it to Real Donald Trump. Oh, that'd be great if he read this one. J.D. Vance, Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel. This tweet that I did is getting 32,000 views right now. That's really good for my Twitter account. Anyways, that was an encouraging note to hear from Sidney Powell. Of course, if you ever want to come on my show, Sidney, let's go. I'd love to talk. And she corrected me, and she's right. Here's what she's right about. Now, in a way, she's right and she's wrong. Here's where she's wrong. There is no law enforcement. Right now, anyways, there's no way to get a grand jury. There's a lot of people yelling at Mike Johnson going, oh, why is he only talking about this now? It literally would have been worthless for Mike Johnson to bring up before January 20th. Because if you don't have a majority, you'll never have law enforcement or even Congress with enough power to do anything about this obvious law breaking that the Democrats did in signing Biden's signature without his authority. That's anti-democracy. And it goes even darker. I'll go one step darker. Sidney Powell's right. We want a grand jury, but I don't see a grand jury happening yet. Grand jury possibly after the 20th. That's why we're calling attention to Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, to work with Mike Johnson, get him under oath, put it in the congressional record. This testimony that he just now said, that Biden was not aware that he signed a document. Now, there's another weird piece of tech that's been around for over 100 years called the auto pen. The auto pen. This was brought up by Andrew McCarthy, the great thinker who we've quoted a lot. The auto pen, it records the president's signature and then can repeat the same signature in ink on other documents. True story. Nixon used it, JFK's used it, Carter used it, Clinton used it, Bush used it, Trump probably used it in his term. Once he agrees to sign a document, they have the auto pen repeat his signature because he has to sign like thousands of documents. There's no way he can sit there at his desk and do this all day. So once he gives his assent that he knows what the thing is and he agrees to sign it, they have the auto pen do it. I want to know, is it possible that all of these documents that Biden signed were done by an auto pen? And I'll bet if you look, you can tell what the signature is when it's done by an auto pen because they're all the same. Whereas when Biden does his normal signature, it'll be all, look all senile and decomposing. I think they need to do a proper investigation on this. Find all the documents that were done with an auto pen, which will probably be 99% of them in Biden's case, and then go back and ask Biden which ones he remembers signing, because if he remembered signing it or giving his approval, fine, those are done. But if they find a bunch of documents like the one that Mike Johnson just now flushed out that he has no recollection of, or might even disagree with, like the 1,500 criminals on death row that they pardoned, like removed their death row sentence What if he didn't even know about that or know about the cases? And there's someone else, Hakeem Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris, the CIA, making these judgments for him? Huge investigation, time for a grand jury. Now you've been caught up on Sidney Powell and Carrie Lake. They're still around, still causing the best kind of trouble. I'm Doug in Exile, and if you like this show, then click this button to subscribe and click this one to watch another video. I'm Doug in Exile.